Bandits initially, they don't kill people like that. They kidnap people to get money. And what happens to their children when we are bombarding their rugas? You are talking about when they kidnap school children. Don't you ask, okay, which school their children go to? When you say kill them, this word kill them means killing them with their families. And the next thing they do, because they are primitive, I'm sorry to say, is revenge.
It's February 2021, Zamfara State, northwest Nigeria. A convoy of vehicles stops at the edge of a forest. A 60-year-old man in white robes steps out. He leaves his security behind. The people he's meeting have one condition: no vehicles, no uniforms, no weapons. He walks the last lap of this journey on foot into the trees. Ahead, sitting cross-legged in a clearing, more than 600 armed fighters are waiting. Some of them are 14 years old. They have AK-47s, rocket launchers, rifles traced to post-Gaddafi Libya. He has Islamic books and hundreds of fabric wrappers for their wives. He starts preaching. This man is a medical doctor, a retired army captain, and the son of the most powerful Islamic scholar Nigeria has ever produced. The Nigerian government, which has spent billions of dollars and deployed thousands of soldiers trying to find these exact people, says he doesn't know where they are. But this man finds them only with a phone call. His name is Sheik Ahmad Gumi.
Now we are not talking about banditry, we are talking about ethnic war between now the nomadic Fulani, the herdsmen, and the others.
The story of Sheik Gumi starts with his father. This is Sheik Abubakar Mahmoud Gumi. Born in a village in what is now Zamfara State, he rises to become the first Grand Qadi of northern Nigeria, the highest Islamic legal authority in a region of tens of millions of people. He is the personal religious advisor to this man, Ahmadu Bello, the most powerful politician in the north. Together, in 1962, they co-found Jama'atu Nasri Islam, JNI, the supreme Islamic authority in Nigeria. Gumi's father becomes its chief theologian. But that's just the beginning. The elder Gumi becomes the spiritual father of a reformist wave called the Islam movement, a Salafi reform project that reshapes how millions of people across West Africa practice Islam. New mosques, new schools, new rules. Scholars call it the most significant Islamic reformation in the region's modern history. In 1987, Saudi Arabia awards him the King Faisal International Prize for service to Islam, the Islamic world's equivalent of the Nobel Peace Prize. He sits on the council of the Islamic University of Medina. Saudi benefactors fund mosque construction across northern Nigeria. When Ahmadu Bello is assassinated in the 1966 military coup, the elder Gumi turns fully towards Saudi Arabia, and from that moment, the Gumi name is embedded permanently in the Saudi-Nigerian religious corridor. Money, prestige, and institutional access flowing in both directions. He dies in London in 1992, but he leaves behind more than a family. He leaves behind a dynasty. His son Ahmad studies medicine at Ahmadu Bello University, commissions through the Nigerian Defense Academy into the Army Medical Corps. He serves as a captain, and then after his father's death, he makes a choice. He resigns his commission, leaves the army, leaves Nigeria entirely. He spends nearly 20 years in Saudi Arabia studying Islamic jurisprudence at Al-Qura University in Mecca. Meanwhile, the Gumi family tree keeps growing its roots into Nigeria's power structure. Ahmad's brother becomes a major general. A half-sister marries a former chief justice. The name Gumi is no longer just a religious credential. It is now a shield, and that shield is about to be tested. Around 2010, Ahmad comes home and he inherits the one thing no degree can give you: his father's pulpit, Sultan Bello Central Mosque, Kaduna, the mosque where his father preached for decades. Ahmad takes over the Ramadan Tasi, the Quranic interpretation sessions broadcast live across Radio Nigeria Kaduna to millions of listeners in Nigeria, Niger, Cameroon, and Chad. He built an Islamic school, a girls' college. He accumulates over 800,000 followers on Facebook. He becomes the most listened to Islamic voice in northern Nigeria. By 2010, Ahmad Gumi has the mosque, the name, the credentials, and the followers. But what he doesn't have is a crisis. Then Northwest Nigeria gives him one.
These bandits are actually an insurgency. Sometimes it's not even criminal.
Northwestern Nigeria after 2009. Cattle rustling, a problem as old as the Sahel, escalates into something else entirely. Fulani herders clash with farming communities. Vigilante groups called the Yansakai form to fight back. Then the herders arm themselves. Then their teenagers arm themselves. Arms flooding from post-Gaddafi Libya. AK-47s, rocket launchers, military-grade rifles crossing porous borders by the truckload. And the state is simply absent. No roads, no schools, no hospitals, no police. Forests the size of European countries where the Nigerian government has no presence at all. Into that vacuum, a generation of teenagers with automatic weapons becomes an industry. Between 2013 and 2022, armed bandits killed approximately 8,300 people in northwest Nigeria. And they discover something. Kidnapping pays. It pays even better than cattle rustling. It pays better than farming. It pays better than anything the state has ever offered them. And the targets are children.
130 school children abducted from a Catholic school in Nigeria.
February 2021, Kagara, Niger State, 42 hostages. March 2021, Federal College of Forestry Mechanization, Afaka, Kaduna, 39 students. April 2021, Greenfield University, Kaduna, 14 students taken, 5 killed. June 2021, Tegina Islamia School, Niger, 115 children. July 2021, Bethel Baptist High School, Kaduna, 121 students taken in a single raid. Parents sell land, sell livestock, sell everything they have to pay the ransoms. Reverend John Hayab, the chairman of CAN in northern Nigeria, later confirms it. Children released in batches, one family at a time, one payment at a time, and this happened over months. The military responds with airstrikes. The airstrikes hit civilian settlements. The civilian casualties drive more teenagers into the forest. The cycle accelerates. And then Sheik Ahmad Gumi does something no politician, no general, and no other cleric in Nigeria will do. He walks in.
An insurgency, you cannot kill it with a gun. You have to negotiate, you have to dialogue. Why are they going into insurgency? Is because they are marginalized.
Late 2020, he begins reaching out to bandit commanders through Fulani networks, pastoralist contacts, Mieti Allah intermediaries, mosque connections. His speech is quite simple. He is Fulani. He is the son of Abubakar Gumi. He is a man of God and he can carry their grievances to the governors. By January 2021, Gumi meets over 600 armed bandits and their commanders. The Kaduna Commissioner of Police accompanies him, representing the Inspector General. The bandits offer to surrender their weapons in exchange for amnesty, security guarantees, and basic services. February 2021, the Zamfara tour. Over 600 fighters under a commander named Bello Tuji, one of the most wanted men in Nigeria. Tuji threatens to invite armed groups from neighboring countries if the government doesn't listen. February 18th, 2 days after the Kagara school abduction, Gumi enters the Dotsin Magaji forest in Niger State to meet a bandit commander named Dogo Gide, a man with reported links to Ansaru, an Al-Qaeda affiliate. The Niger State government sends its secretary to the state government as its representative. Gide shows Gumi a raised Fulani settlement, 1,500 people displaced, corpses dumped in 3 wells. 9 days later, the Kagara students are released. For a few months, in early 2021, it looks like dialogue might actually work, but the Nigerian government has made promises through Gumi that it has no intention of keeping. Gumi carries a list of demands back from the forest. Blanket amnesty modeled on the program that ended the Niger Delta militancy. a new Ministry of Nomadic Affairs, release of detained children of herders, schools and hospitals built in the forest, security guarantees for anyone who surrenders, the government delivers nothing. Instead, in late 2021, the Federal High Court in Abuja does the opposite of amnesty. It officially designates bandit groups as terrorists. Gumi warns publicly that the terrorist designation will backfire, that it will turn, in his words, raw, naive, unexposed bandits into real terrorists. He formally withdraws from in-person forest visits, says he can't risk his life anymore, but he keeps talking from the pulpit, from Facebook, from television studios across Abuja and Kaduna. The promises are broken. The bandits are now officially terrorists, and Gumi, the man who advocated for dialogue with known killers, is about to find out that the more you talk, the more people listen to what you actually say.
Saying that kidnapping children is a lesser evil than killing soldiers definitely is lesser. Killing is worse than, but they're all evil. It's just a lesser evil. Not all evils are the same parallel. So it's a lesser evil than...
December 9, 2025, 303 students and 12 teachers have just been abducted from a Catholic school in Niger State. 25 schoolgirls have been taken from a Catholic school in Kebbi. The country is reeling. Sheik Gumi goes on the BBC and he says, kidnapping children is a lesser evil than killing soldiers. Nigeria erupts. The Christian Association of Nigeria demands his arrest. Human Rights Watch issues an ultimatum. Defense Minister General Christopher Musa, retired, says publicly that a friend of a thief is a thief. But Gumi didn't retract his statement. He calls his critics, quote, spineless, irresponsible, and unpatriotic, imbecilic people. Nobody arrests him. In the first half of 2025, Nigeria's National Human Rights Commission recorded approximately 2,266 deaths from banditry and insurgency. In a single 12-month period between July 2024 and June 2025, SBM intelligence counted 4,722 people abducted in 997 raids. Families paid over 2.57 billion naira in ransom to people Gumi wants Nigeria to offer blanket amnesty to. Gumi claims he led 600 bandits to surrender, but the data says violence rose, not fell, in every single year his negotiations operated. Bello Tuji, the man Gumi sat with in that Zamfara forest, burned travelers alive on a Sokoto highway that same year. He sacked 6 villages and abducted roughly 150 people in a single 24-hour period. He remains at large through 2026. The approach did not work. In June 2021, the DSS, Nigeria's secret police, invites Gumi for questioning after he claims on national television that military personnel are colluding with bandits. He meets with the DSS director in Kaduna. The meeting lasts 15 minutes, but the government doesn't arrest Sheik Gumi. He walks out and he keeps preaching. But then, in September 2022, they arrest the man who has been standing next to him all along.
Tukur Mamu, the publisher of a Kaduna-based newspaper, Desert Herald, came to limelight in June this year.
There's a man in every photo of Sheik Gumi's forest missions, standing just behind him, carrying the Islamic books, managing the press. His name is Tukur Mamu. He is a publisher from Yobe State, runs a small Kaduna tabloid called the Desert Herald. He serves as Gumi's media consultant, the operational fixer of the entire bandit engagement. On March 28, 2022, armed gunmen detonate explosives on the track and attack the Abuja-Kaduna AK-9 train. At least 8 people are killed, over 60 passengers are abducted. It is the most high-profile kidnapping in modern Nigerian history, targeting the educated middle class on a government-operated railway. Mamun negotiates the release of hostages in batches over the following months. Families celebrate. Media outlets call him a hero. But in less than 6 months, his story will unravel. September 6, 2022, Cairo International Airport. Tukur Mamu is transiting through Egypt on his way to Saudi Arabia. He's traveling with his 2 wives, his son Faisal, and his brother-in-law Ibrahim Tinja. Egyptian authorities, coordinating with Nigerian intelligence and Interpol, intercept him at the gate. He is detained, repatriated to Nigeria the following day, taken directly into DSS custody on arrival. That same night, around midnight, approximately 50 DSS operatives in roughly 20 vehicles, they raid Tukumamu's residence and his Desert Herald office simultaneously. And then comes March 2023, Federal High Court Abuja. Tukumamu is arraigned on a 10-count terrorism charge under the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act. And then in November 2025, the full picture emerges in court. DSS investigator testifies that Mamu collected an aggregate $420,000 from the families of kidnapped train passengers, 21 million naira from other sources, 500,000 naira that was directed to Boko Haram, and that the bandit commander known as Shugaba offered Mamu a personal cut, 50 million naira from the ransom pool. For a newspaper publisher whose tabloid had a circulation in the low thousands, his traceable assets totaled roughly $300,000. Bail denied. Repeatedly. Most recently in October 2025. Mamu has been in DSS custody for over 3 years. The Nigerian Sanctions Committee formally designates him a terrorism financier, but his mentor calls the designation rubbish. No charge has ever been brought against Sheik Ahmad Gumi. The mentor walks free, but the protege faces a lifetime in prison. 3 days after Mamu's arrest, Sheikh Gumi stands at the Sultan Bello Mosque and addresses his congregation. He says, arresting people unjustly is also terrorism, just like the terrorists do. He calls the DSS lawless. He calls the raid on Mamu's house an act of state terror. He doesn't distance himself from Mamu. He doubles down. He doesn't visit Mamu in detention. He doesn't even provide evidence of innocence. He attacks the accusers instead. So, is this loyalty? Because Tukumamu is not the first person connected to violent extremism who had Sheikh Gumi's number in their phone. That distinction belongs to a 23-year-old Nigerian who boarded a transatlantic flight with a bomb sewn into his underwear.
Underwear bomber, the Al-Qaeda terrorist charge.
Christmas Day 2009, Northwest Airlines Flight 253, Amsterdam to Detroit, nearly 300 passengers. A 23-year-old Nigerian named Umar Farouk Abdul Muttalab is on board. He is the youngest of 16 children of Alhaji Umaru Muttalab, one of the wealthiest bankers in Nigeria. He has studied in London and Yemen, and hidden in his underwear is a device packed with PET N, a powerful explosive capable of blowing a hole in the fuselage. He tries to detonate it. The device fails. Fire engulfs his body. Passengers tackle him and extinguish the flames. He is arrested on the runway in Detroit. He will eventually plead guilty and receive life in prison. He is currently held at ADX Florence in Colorado, one of the most secure federal prisons in America. He will never leave there. But when FBI investigators go through Abdul Muttalab's phone, the people he contacted in the days before the attack, they find a certain Sheikh Ahmad Gumi. February 24, 2010, Gumi is detained in Mecca at the request of US authorities. He is held for over 6 months, first in Jeddah, then under house arrest in Mecca. He says the Saudis cleared him. They released him on September 5, 2010, without charge. Gumi returned to Nigeria after his 2010 release. He resumed preaching. He built his schools. He walked into the forest, and then, in May 2025, he tried to go back to Saudi Arabia. May 24, 2025, Sheikh Gumi arrived at Medina aboard an Umza air charter as part of a NACON-sponsored delegation of Islamic scholars for Hajj 2025. He holds a valid Hajj visa. He is stopped at immigration, barred from entry, turned around, deported at his own expense on a Turkish Airlines flight through Istanbul. In 1987, Saudi Arabia gave his father the King Faisal International Prize, the Islamic world's highest honor. But in 2025, Saudi Arabia won't let the son through the airport. Gumi attributes the ban to his criticism of Saudi Arabia's position on the Israel-Hamas war, his vocal pro-Palestinian and anti-US stance. During Ramadan 2025, the Nigerian president's son, Sheik personally visited Sheik Gumi alongside a federal minister and the governor of Kaduna State. So, while his international standing seems to have collapsed, his domestic immunity holds. But there's another man who has nothing to do with this story. However, his own experience with the law exposes the double standards in the Nigerian system.
It's not of law. What you're doing is not law. Please. You don't know the law. Please. Show me. Please. I can show me.
November 20th, 2025. Federal High Court, Abuja. Justice James Omotosho delivers his verdict. Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, is sentenced to life imprisonment. Kanu gave inflammatory speeches on Radio Biafra. He called for Biafran secession. He was abducted, commando style, in Kenya through an extraordinary rendition in 2021. He was held for years. He was tried, and in the end, he got life sentence. Sheik Gumi walked into forest with killers, told the BBC that kidnapping children is a lesser evil, watched his own spokesman get arrested for terrorism financing, was linked to a convicted bomber, was deported by Saudi Arabia. He preaches every Friday. And most critically, he has never been charged with a single crime. Underneath all of this, the ransom economy keeps growing. Every naira flowed into the organizations Gumi argued could be reformed through dialogue. Every naira made the next kidnapping more profitable. So, the question was never whether Sheik Gumi is guilty or innocent. The question was always why the state decided it couldn't afford to find out. Gumi is not the cause of Nigeria's crisis. He is its clearest symptom. A state that cannot stop the bandits and cannot arrest the man who sits with them is a state that has measured the cost of action in both directions and decided that inaction is cheaper. The military cannot pacify the forest. The government cannot deliver amnesty. The courts cannot treat northern and southern dissent equally. The presidency cannot alienate the constituency that Gumi represents. And so, Gumi preaches. Children are taken, ransoms are paid, and the line on the graph keeps going up. Gumi is simultaneously the most consequential civilian negotiator in Nigerian banditry and the most publicly tolerated apologist for it. Every kidnapped child, every ransom payment, every forest meeting that produced no peace, every call for arrest that went unheeded, all of it maps the exact boundaries of what Nigeria's federation can and cannot do. But the hard truth is, Sheik Gumi didn't draw those boundaries. He merely lives inside them.
Saying that kidnapping children is a lesser evil than killing soldiers definitely is lesser. Killing is worse than, but they're all evil. It's just a lesser evil. Not all evils are of the same parallel.